Alright, I'd like to show you a few settings that can help you on Basai, really in all content, but kind of with the Basai fight in mind, cleaning up some things that can help with visibility of AoEs and some camera stuff. And anyway, let's just get into it. So, go down to the options, camera. So first thing I would do, screen shake all the way down, camera sensitivity, that should be between the V and the final T in sensitivity. So somewhere in there, especially if you're on Arcanist, that way you can swing your beam a little bit faster. Third person field of view, all the way to the right. So if you just do the, um, bring your camera in and out with holding down on the D-pad, that doesn't actually bring it all the way out. You need to back it all the way out here. So that's first and foremost. And that allows us to see more of the ground when our beam is at the horizontal position. If you're doing this, you're literally beaming the floor, so you need to pick that beam up, be more horizontal. And that way you can hit, all three things, and you're not just hitting the ground like that. But then we can still see behind where my tune is, kind of in the area around my skill bars and all that stuff. You get a little bit more visibility for curses that might be coming from behind. We'll do nameplates, has some stuff in here. I've got nameplates on, but titles off, tabard off. I don't need to see my stuff. Group members on. You could actually turn these off entirely, and that would clean up the little names that hover above players, which would block your view potentially. I like to keep the names on there so that if someone is in a weird spot or that I can kind of, let them know, hey, come over here, so and so, or that kind of thing, in a friendly way, but make a correction in the moment. Um, but for health bars, uh, this one I would recommend group members never show. If you're on DPS. Um, you don't have anything on your bar that's gonna help somebody out, so you shouldn't really care about what someone else's health is at, unless you're a healer. So I would turn that off um, to never. So there's injured, I think is the default, or maybe always. Just turn that to never. And that'll get rid of that big blue bar that hovers above their head. That does have priority in the screen. It will block your view of AoEs that are coming towards you. So I would turn that off. I think that's about it. You can turn on the glow intensity here, and then target marker size. Um, our tanks have that. That's just all personal preference, but I would keep it certainly smaller than the default. But it is good to know where your supports are at, especially if you need to res them or what have you. Here, gameplay. And this is all stuff that hopefully is changed, but definitely enemy color. A little bit of preference here. It's a dark floor, so I would do something light and bright, maybe a little airy too. I've got this nice ethereal blue, very visible in a dark floor. So I would avoid like a dark purple or something like that, because the floor's kind of, I don't know, this kind of blue to blue cyan seems to work everywhere, probably except Cloud Rest. But do consider changing that, and then I have the brightness all the way up. Quick cast ground abilities, if that's not on, you should absolutely turn that on. Auto loot, if you're going to loot during the trial, will speed you up. Probably not supposed to, but I need my ink, damn it. For combat, ability bar, always show. This one's important. Resource numbers, number, and percent. This affects not just you, but enemy health bars as well. I would keep it at number and percent. There are certain burn markers where we are stopping on Basai, so knowing those percentages is important. But then at the end for execute, depending on what our group's burn is. Generally 5 mil and below, we're not going to focus a meteor. So maybe that number's 4 million for your group, or 3 million. It's just good to have that information on the bar. Combat text, we need this to ensure that our beam is hitting things, so turn that on. Outgoing damage, you don't really need all this stuff, but I like seeing the numbers on my screen, knowing that I'm getting healed and all that stuff. Now, buffs and debuffs, this is a bit of a personal preference. I would say while you're learning the fight, making sure you don't have curse. You will get a icon on your bar. It'll be outlined in red and it'll be blue in the middle. It looks kind of like the healing skill in the Necro line, the first one. I can't remember what it's called. Resistant Flesh, I think. It has the same icon as that. So you can turn these off. I find that if I don't have some buffs on, I forget that I don't have food on. So permanent effects off. You could do, and then from others off at a minimum, but you could certainly just turn buffs off. So now, even if I hit the dummy here, right, I don't have anything on my bar, but if I were to turn that back on, I've got all this noise on my bar for all the different buffs in an optimized raid group like we've got here. That bar can get quite long. At one point it was all the way across the screen to the point where I could not see the debuff that I had the dot. So again, at a minimum, permanent effects off. That'll get rid of things like ESO Plus that you have abundance on, things that you kind of just know are there. But yeah, I would make sure you have that, and then from others off as well. Those are the settings. So now I'll show you kind of what it looks like in action. Alright, so heading into Basai, we're going to need to put on our damage shield because I am going in Portal. So I move banner because I need to have shield on R1 or I can't function. So that's not like a mandatory thing. I find it helps. That way I can get my light attack shield roto going for Ghost down in Portal. Make sure you obviously then, if you are going to move banner around, you do need to reactivate it. So we're going to make sure our stam is dumped. I'm in Riptide, so keeping that stam low is very important for the set to give you the damage boost that it can. We're going to hard target Basai, lay some pre-damage. I am holding block here to keep my stam low. A little bit lower than I need to, but that'll just help because the first few skills that I cast are mag. So be up inspired. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the min-maxy thing of how to do a opening roto for this guy. This is going to be more about like kind of where to look and some tips and tricks on how to help you during the fight. You'll notice I'm beaming left to right. The ghosts can spawn, the archers can spawn on any of those little runes throughout the room. So I beam right in case the archer spawns there, kill it before the tank can pull it in, but that didn't happen. So yeah, we're just going to keep wailing on Basai. If you do have an ultimate here, I recommend saving it for the A-bomb. Healer's just called out curse, so I'm looking to my left to see where that curse is coming from well in advance. We're backing up, and then we're going to get some pre-damage down for the A-bomb. Now you'll notice I do have an archer AoE around my feet. I need to roll that or else I'll knock back everyone in the group that's within that AoE. And that can put them, they get knocked into a curse or whatever. So we're going to do damage on the A-bomb here, drop alts, and then beam and back up. While I'm backing up, I'm kind of looking in that area with the red arrow, kind of towards my feet, towards the camera side, because that's where the curse is going to come from main tank if one does happen. I saw the damage numbers on the A-bomb, so I don't need to look at that anymore. I'm just going to back up, trust that my beam's hitting, and watch for curses. And then watch back the POV, see if the numbers are ticking. So make any adjustments with my positioning. The beam is longer than you think it is, especially if you keep your beam more horizontal and less beaming at the floor. So because we're keeping the beam horizontal, it's really important to know where on the screen your eyeballs should be. So here I play a little bit more left. That way I'm beaming through Basai, hitting the A-bomb, making that Azure pop on everything. Generally speaking, while I'm doing this, I am watching the main tank. I'm listening to the main tank. That's the one with the Dorito. Unfortunately, I won't have their callouts in the video, but those are instrumental. So Scythe just went out. I know I can be a little bit more left. She's not going to explode right away. I can get one beam at max damage, hitting all three in a nice straight line. But then I move a little bit to my right so I have enough time to react. I'm watching the main tank here very closely and then backing up away from those AoEs. Moving into a safe spot. Now, if you see that AoE and it's coming towards your left, maybe you tuck in. Anyway, you're just trying to avoid that AoE and only roll dodging if you absolutely have to. We want to keep burn up as high as possible. So we're going to beam in this corner. This corner can be tricky because you've got your healers off to your right and behind, so curses can come through poison. They can also come from the main tank and anyone else that's caught. So I'm looking to my left because the tank called out exploding. In this case, the off tank accidentally got clipped by that. So now I'm looking at the off tank and down at Basai's feet. I'm kind of alternating between those. So Basai's feet, making sure I'm not in Scythe Town, and then watching where the curse is coming from the off tank who picked up that curse there. So again, we're watching Basai's feet while doing damage, glancing to make sure we've got numbers, but then also making sure we're avoiding those curses. Then we're getting ready to go into portal, so I look down, make sure I don't have cloak up, check to see that I've got a barrier. I do in this case, which will allow me to beam multiple ghosts at once. It's a little sweaty strat here. You don't have to do this, but it keeps the portal quick. I'm watching my health bar the whole time I'm doing this to make sure I'm not hitting any ghosts without that barrier, or I would die. As I'm moving around, making sure, again, just kind of watching my health bar, looking at the ghosts, watching for that X to hit. Once I've got the beam connected, I walk towards where we need to be, using the Dorito up on the top compass as a reference point. Now we're upstairs again. You get a little invulnerability, so check the stam bar, make sure we're in a good spot for Riptide. That was a quick portal, so my stam is in a good spot. Normally come up a little bit high, so if that's the case, dump your stam a little bit by either hitting Camo Hunter or whatever you've got. So again, we're just going to kind of do damage. Like I said, I like to play connect the dots, make sure I'm hitting two things, but also making sure I'm not in Scythe Town. I'm a little bit far out of position here, so this would be a little bit too far out. So yeah, just making sure Azure's popping on everything. Basai is the focus, but we're going to watch the main tank here as that curse comes in. We're also listening for any callouts from the healers through poison, those kinds of things to kind of dictate where our character is actually moving. So again, we're trying to beam everything. Kind of keeping an eye on the health bar too. We don't want to push past 52% is our stop point. So generally there'll be a stop burn call out, so you can rely on that if you'd like. But I do glance up there. And then over here, I do like to kind of move to Basai, clean up any archers, because they're just annoying. And then we've got 2% to push Basai, so I'm not going to do any long dots or anything like that. But I am going to watch these curses that are coming from the healer. Okay, looks clear for now, but there's this one curving from the left and through boss, so making sure that we're not in that. There they explode. Generally speaking, if it explodes near a group and you're like, ooh, did somebody get that? Just to check your bar call out, and then look all the way to the far right to see if you've got the curse. So this is portal 1, not my portal. So we're going to go with Basai around the little eyeball in the middle. And what we're doing here, we're not burning, so just making sure that if you don't have ulti, you're light attacking. If you do have ulti, that you're keeping your stamina spot where it needs to be. I just light attack by default a little bit. And then, once you get a feel for it, you'll know when to start pushing, but there's usually a call out for start burn. Generally, it's when they start counting down in Portal. So here we get a little bit extra and early. You can see that blue beam in the background there. That's the upstairs portal beam. So Sip is going over there to look at the middle, press X, and then that'll bring Portal Team upstairs. So now the first behemoth is spawning because we hit that 50% mark. We're going to do damage here. I'm actually a little too far to the right, so you want to scoot to your left. Again, Basai has a really interesting hitbox. You can kind of split the difference and shoot down mid and you'll hit both. So yeah, just kind of maximizing burn on Basai, keeping an eye on curses from the main tank mostly, but then if the healers say through group or something like that, we're keeping an eye on those curses as well. So you're kind of alternating between checking to make sure you've got your damage numbers on things, looking at the main tank, especially when they call out curse or exploding especially, and then keeping an eye on the right if the healers say exploding, just to kind of see the direction that those AoEs are heading. Now we're single target focusing the behemoth. Basai's going to cleave a little bit, but we want to look at the main tank on our left. Keep an eye on those curses. So burn this down. The cutoff point here is 32%, so a little burn on Basai is okay. We don't have to like totally remove dots at this point. Relay your wall so it's not hitting her or any of that kind of stuff. But if we were closer to that 32, you would want to do that. So there's me moving my wall. Again, kind of keeping an eye on curses. Dodging firewalls as if you've got nothing else going on can help make sure that heals are going towards the tanks. It is now my portal. I check my bar. I don't see a barrier there. My health bar looks like I've got a shield, but that's because I was beaming. But we don't have a barrier, so here we're going to do the light attack shield combo. I did have cloak up there, which made me nervous, so shield first, light attack shield, light attack shield, light attack shield. We're watching the fireballs connect, but the fingers are literally light attack, and then it's like a ba-boom, ba-boom, like a heartbeat. So you're going to do light attack shield, light attack shield, light attack shield. So that's why I keep it on R1, because that's, I don't know, for some reason feels natural to me. So here we see we've got the X on the screen. Hurry up banner right before that. So that's the thing too. If you're having sustain issues, you can toggle your banner off. That will help your sustain, and then toggle it back on when you come upstairs. I found you don't need to do it, but if you're having trouble, that's an easy correction. Just make sure you do get it back on for upstairs, or you'll be one flail beaming for very little damage. Here we have our first meteor. Generally, if you're Portal 2, that'll be the first thing that happens when you come up. So, again, beaming through the meteor, beaming to boss. I was comfortable standing that close to the boss because she was mechanicked. If she had been bashed there, I would have backed away and gone to the group. So again, those are kind of little nuances, things that you'll pick up after we've been in here for a year. So you'll pick up on those things over time. But again, we're beaming through, but watching those curses, those look a little sus. They're going to come through group. I can't see anything because I got those damn health bars on. So yeah, we're just backing up, playing safe. And then a meteor call out just happened, so if I had picked up my camera a little bit there, I wouldn't have had to go so close to that meteor. So that's a little correction too. Make sure your beam is up, more towards the horizon, and that'll allow you to beam greater distances. So here, beaming through everything, trying to hit as much stuff as possible, but beaming the behemoth. We are balls to the walls on Basai right now. So at this point, hopefully behemoths die for the off-tank sake, but that is not the focus here. The focus is to get this fight over with. There will be one more meteor that will spawn, and we're not at the 5 million mark. So like I talked about with number and percent, we're not there yet. So we will kill this last meteor. Listen to your raid lead on that call if you don't want to look up at health bars of bosses and things like that. There's plenty to look at in this trial. If you learned nothing else from this video, hopefully it's that there's a lot to kind of take in, a lot of visual noise, a lot of information. It's far more important than looking down at your DPS bar and all that other stuff. So now we're back on Basai. We are moving here. So if we're moving, very important. She's going to move out of AoEs and things like that. So it's not as important to keep your wall down. We are just in a spam situation here. So flail, beam, make sure scholarship's up. If you have any ultis, lead the boss a little bit. Anyway, hope that helps. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.